Hey everyone, and welcome back. Happy 2026 if you're watching this in the first part of the new year. Crazy that it's 2026 already. Today I wanted to talk about the Edifier QR30s, which are the speakers that I have here on my desk because I have had these for a couple months now. I think it's been about 5 months since I bought them. So I wanted to share my thoughts on them because, spoiler, I really love them. This is actually the second pair of Edifiers that I own. I bought another pair that I have out in the living room. So I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video to do a comparison because they're two different models. This is actually the first proper set of speakers that I've had on my setup, and being able to listen to music while I'm working or have a more immersive experience when I'm gaming is really nice and something I wish that I had done sooner in terms of quality of life upgrade for my setup. So if you are thinking about either these speakers or another speaker setup for your desk, I would definitely recommend that you do it because it was a huge improvement for me. So getting into the specs of the speakers themselves, these are a really good size for a desk like mine. The speakers themselves are about 7.5 inches tall and 5.5 inches long. My desk, as you can see, is not the largest desk. It is about 55 by 24 inches. So on the smaller side, especially considering I have two pretty big monitors, the speakers don't take up too much real estate. I feel like they're not crowding out the other items in my desk. These speakers support Bluetooth multi-point connection, so you can have two devices connected at the same time, which I think is a really nice quality of life feature. That's how I use these in my setup, and I think it's just more convenient than a wired connection. They do also support USB-A and aux if you prefer a wired connection. For the audiophiles out there, these speakers run with 30 watts of output, and they have 3/4 inch silk dome tweeters and 2 3/4 inch long throw mid bass drivers. Did I know what a silk dome tweeter was when I picked these out? I absolutely did not. I looked it up for us though, if you also didn't know. The tweeter is the part of the speaker at the top here, and that's the part that is responsible for making the higher pitched tones in music, and that's where the name tweeter comes from because it's a high-pitched sound. Tweeters come in different shapes and materials which affect how the sound sounds when it comes out of the speakers. These ones on the QR30s are dome tweeters, which produce an evenly distributed sound compared to some other shapes like a horn shape or a ribbon tweeter, both of which can be used in specialty sound systems. Silk refers to the material that the diaphragm, in this case the domed part, is made of, and it's a commonly used material alongside some metals like aluminum. To be fair to the other parts of the spec that I mentioned that I also had no idea what they were referring to, I also did some reading on drivers. Short throw versus long throw refers to the depth of the coil system in the speaker, with long throw obviously being a deeper coil system. This impacts the depth of the bass tones that the speaker is able to produce. So in this case, the QR30s are a long throw speaker, meaning even though they are a relatively small speaker, they're capable of producing a deeper bass sound. I've definitely noticed in my experience this is true with the types of music that I listen to. I've been pretty impressed with the bass from a bookshelf speaker. The QR30s come in two colorways. There is a white and a black. I have the white, which have a silver accent around the front, and the black ones are a solid black color. One of the highlights for me of these speakers are the LED effects. I will be honest, this definitely played a big factor in choosing these speakers. Like I said, I already knew that they produced a pretty good quality speaker for the price point, but the aesthetic of these was exactly what I was looking for with my setup. Edifier calls these their Tempo Abyss technology. From what it looks like to me, it seems like it may be layered acrylic panes that are illuminated, so it creates this kind of abyss effect. Edifier has an app called Edifier ConneX that you can use to fine-tune all of the audio levels and also to change the LED effects. There are 12 different light effects, and within each one you can change the color by picking a color gradient. My only complaint with this feature is that when you select a favorite color, it saves it only for that one light effect and not for all of the light effects. So if you save a color in one light effect, you have to go and save that color in another light effect if you have 2 or 3 light effects that you like to use. In the sound effects panel of the app, you can either choose from one of their presets, which are music, movies, and gaming, or you can customize your levels yourself. Cable management with these speakers is really simple, especially if you're using them in Bluetooth mode. There is one cable that connects the 2 speakers to each other, and then there is a power cable connected to one speaker. Cable management is really important if you have a lot of peripherals like speakers, monitors, keyboard on your desk, because it can get pretty chaotic pretty quickly. I use a combination of 3M stickies, a hanging basket that holds my power strip, zip ties, and cable covers, and that works really well for me. I will link everything that is in my setup in the description of this video if you are looking for inspiration, and if you purchase through my links, it helps my channel. Like I mentioned earlier, these are actually the second pair of Edifier bookshelf speakers that I own. I purchased back in 2024 the R1280Ts, which we have out in the living room connected to our record player. The R1280Ts are quite a bit bigger than these speakers and aesthetically completely different. For my desk setup, I really like the white RGB silver theme. It pairs with everything else that I have in my setup, but for the living room, where I have the others, I think that the wood pairs much more nicely. I really appreciate that Edifier has a pretty wide range of aesthetic choices in addition to making speakers with different audio specs. I would definitely recommend either of the Edifier speakers that I own. For the price point, I think that these are excellent quality speakers. I have had no issues with heavy daily use of both speakers, and I bought the R1280Ts back in 2024. So I've had them for a couple years now, and like I said, I've had these for a couple of months. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you. Let me know in the comments what tech you've got your eye on for 2026, and I'll see you in the next one.